show you a few videos so you can follow along on my screen. This first one is called making a monoprint using markers. You're going to need markers, paper, and maybe some sandwich baggies or foil or plastic wrap that you might have in the kitchen. Something that's non-porous, that means something that does not absorb, and some water. So here, just choosing some colors that when you blend, they blend well. Be careful not to use complementary colors because then you'll get brown. You can use foil and you can just put your paper over them after you sprinkle it with a little bit of water. If you don't have a water bottle to sprinkle with, you can lightly dab it with some water with a little sponge or some crumpled up paper towels. So that was the first one, making a monoprint using markers on a plastic or foil surface. Now the next one we're going to watch is painting with mud painting. With this one you might get a little dirty, but you know what? Sometimes it's fun to do that. Now if you have access to the outside, this is going to be something fun to try. So first you're going to want to draw something on your paper that you could paint. And what we're doing is adding a little bit of water at a time to create your mud paint. Now you're going to want to use some brushes that you don't really, that might be old or you don't mind getting some mud on. And what this does is create some values on your painting. And as you go along and you add layers to it, you get little darker values. So that's what she's doing here. Now you can see that there's texture because of the dirt involved. But as you start to let it dry, you can continue to add more layers to it and it'll start increasing the value. So you're using more values on the left side and on the bottom side because that's where the light hits it least. And she's adding some washable markers on top. Looks like these are Crayola scent markers, but you can use whatever you have. Just to add a little bit of color. And it's going to go right on top once your paper is dry. And then what you can do is add a little bit of water to it on top, and then it's going to blend it in. And again, you're adding color and shadow to these. And she's only going to be doing it mainly on the bottom side. So you can see, just keep adding these layers using mud. Mud painting. Okay, the next one we're going to see is how to make your own brushes. Say you don't have brushes to work with. You can use some household items to paint with. Let's look at these. Here she's collected a few things. You can see she's using a Q-tip, since that works, to spread paint around. An old toothbrush. Maybe it's time to change out your toothbrushes. Maybe you have some spare ones that you can use. Don't throw away your only toothbrush. So if you have some extra ones hanging around, I would do that. She's also collected some pine needles. So if you have a pine tree nearby, maybe you can put them together with some tape and use that to brush paint. It's using some strips of, it looks like some strips of paper, some construction paper. You can use that, or some grasses. You can also use dried grasses. You can even use sponges that you can cut up into little squares and sponge it around. So that's another option. Okay, the next one we're going to see is coffee and tea painting. Here you're going to need coffee grounds or tea leaves, water, paper, paintbrush. Again, like I said, if you don't have a paintbrush, you can use some of those tips on creating your own brushes. So let's look at this. Painting with coffee or tea. Now you're going to draw your item first in pencil. Then you're going to start to use a strong coffee. Now, I don't know what kind of coffee maker you have at home. You can ask your parents for help to make you a strong coffee. And make sure you cool it off first so you don't burn yourself. Once it starts to dry, you can incorporate more layers to create a deeper value, more shadows. That's what she's doing here. And then she's defining the shape of the item next with a pencil. So that is using coffee. All right, the next one we're going to see is how to make homemade chalk paint. Now, you can use flour or cornstarch in your kitchen, water, and food coloring for this one. So this would be cool because it's washable to come off on your sidewalk. So let's take a look at this one. So she's first measuring out some flour, just a little bit, in some cups. Adding a little bit of water to create a liquid, kind of like a chowder soup or like a pea soup or something like that. Or like melted ice cream, you know how that consistency is. Now she's adding some food coloring to these little cups. And then you can use brushes to paint a message on your sidewalk. So this is painting with flour and food coloring. And once it dries, it has that quality to it. Okay. The next one we're going to see is painting with spices. Now this is pretty exciting. You're going to go to your kitchen and you're going to ask if you can test out some spices or maybe some crystallized sprinkles that you would use on cookies during Christmas time maybe. So we're going to take a look at a few sources in your kitchen that you can use. Try cinnamon, try paprika, try cayenne pepper. Well, don't taste it or don't put it in your eye because you don't want to sting them. Turmeric, curry powder. So some of those things, and crystallized sprinkles, like I said, for cupcakes. You can try some of those. Let's see. This is cayenne pepper. It makes like a salsa sauce. You can see what that looks like to paint with. She's labeling it so you know what it is. And now she's going to get turmeric. Or in my case, I don't have turmeric, I have curry powder. So I would try that. And it gives you like a yellow watercolor look. Turmeric. Again, you can try cinnamon if you have that. Now these are crystallized sprinkles. They're clear and it's almost like a light watercolor. If you don't have that, you can try Kool-Aid or Jello, anything that has a color to it. Smashed blueberries, right? Those stains, you got to be careful with your clothes. What other foods have a color to them? That's basically raspberries, maybe smashed raspberries you could try. So here, once you know what they look like, you can draw the contour line of an object or something that you want to fill in, and then use your homemade watercolors. So fun, right? And they're going to be more natural looking, not as strong as watercolor pigments because, um, they're homemade. All right, that is using color from your kitchen. You gotta make sure though you get permission to use some of these things. And of course, the kind of paper that she's using is multimedia paper, which doesn't bleed that much. It's a little thicker, probably for a sketchbook for that reason. She's letting it dry now. But it's gonna also have some texture left over because of the spices that are on there. All right, let's see what is next. And I think that's it. Yeah, we've covered them all. So I hope you get a chance to try some of these out. If you have any questions, let me know, email me, and I hope to see some of your creations.